back. It's a Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. Just half past the bottom of the hour, 12 noon Eastern, here in Miami today. Not high atop the financial capital of the world, but as always, in the Question Tequila Studios. We're well fortified with Question, and we are well fortified today to talk about everything that's going on in crypto and more as Drew Taylor joins us. He's the host of the Wild West Crypto Show. And when you get a New Yorker and a Texan on the same set at the same time, there's going to be some action.
You know that. Now, you know what, John? To be on here with a New Yorker that thinks like us Texans do, you're from Texas somewhere.
Maybe.
But,
I might have been down there a few times. I may have some ancestry down there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have my Spurs with me, but I get some.
If I'd known, I'd have brought you a hat, my man.
Oh, you know? Man, I wish I would have known. I would have loved to have a cowboy hat on today. That would be fun. So tell me, you've been a leader in the education awareness on cryptocurrency. The Wild West Crypto Show's on every week. You got a huge following, not only in the U.S. but worldwide. Tell us why you started that and what kind of movement you're beginning there.
Absolutely, John. And you know, kudos to you for going to the real media with this stuff. I mean, I love the guys that started this thing on YouTube and podcasts and all that, but it's the choir singing to the choir. And I've got about 20 years in radio and television, and I started paying attention to cryptos in 2013, and I actually saw that this was the evolution of the money system.
Yep.
You know, if you're a small business guy, you and I talked about this, if you own, Maria's Mexican restaurant, you're doing $400,000 a year, by the time you pay credit card fees, it can affect, 10, 12, 15, 20% of your bottom line. And I thought, this can be a game changer for small business people. Yeah. But we need to reach the small business people.
Yeah, and, we try to break stuff down on here like to the 101 level so that, crypto's new and we want to educate our audience. What Drew's talking about is this. If you're a small business, you're an entrepreneur, you take a lot of credit cards. Let's say you do $500,000 a year in business and you're on a 20% profit margin. So if you're $500,000, you make $100,000, you support your family, you pay your bills, you're doing good. If you're paying $15,000 in credit card processing fees, which is 3% of the $500,000 in gross sales, that's 15% of your bottom line that's going to the big banks, and cryptocurrency takes that out of the equation.
And there's no chargebacks.
That's right. It's done.
Yes.
This is an immutable transaction, and I call them rent seekers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you bet.
These people that we have to pay for trust.
Yeah.
We don't need to pay for trust anymore.
No. Yeah. Cryptos are a trust system.
What's the biggest misconception that you hear on your show and your audience? What's the biggest misconception about crypto?
You know what? It's one of those things that it happens anywhere that there's money. There's going to be fraud. There's going to be nefarious activity and all that. And there's still, you said it earlier on the show, the big banks. Who's paying for the advertising on television, mainstream media? It's all these financial folks. They do not want this in the marketplace, and why don't they? It's cutting into their money, my man.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look. If you really think about it, when they're pushing back against digital assets, 90% of the transactions that happen in fiat are happening as digital transactions.
Yes.
We're using ATM cards, we're using debit cards, we're using PayPal, we're using Venmo, we're using Cash App. Those are all digital transactions already. There's no difference other than the banks charge a fee in those. And when peer-to-peer transactions start, that's when the banks start to quake in their boots.
They are, man. You bet they are. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the other piece to that, it's funny, we're talking off air about T+3.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know what that means, what's really funny, run a debit card transaction, and if you get that alert on your cell phone, it immediately hits your account, right?
That's right.
They don't need to wait to settle ACH transactions. I will tell you, I transfer money from my big bank to my Coinbase account. It takes 7 to 10 days. I then go cash out some Bitcoin and transfer it to my bank account. Amazingly, it shows up sometimes the same day.
When you got a hat that big, when he says big bank, he's talking about a big bank account. This guy, you know what I mean? When you're the host of the Wild West Crypto Show, You got a lot of crypto in that account, I bet. How long have you been invested in crypto? Or?
Since I started paying attention 2013, started buying cryptos, small pieces, back when it was tough to get in 2016, hadn't really started its run up. Me and my sons went and dove into the space. And then, it's really been, this is the future of it. Like I said, I give you kudos for going out there. You're walking right to the edge of this market information exchange. You asked why I started the show. We love to say that we talk to our old redneck buddies out there while they're feeding the cattle and stuff.
Yeah.
We hit the flyover nation. We're on about 50 TV stations and 100 radio stations in the U.S. And yeah,
we got to get you on Newsmax more often.
I'm telling you.
Show us your business. Email
the Wild West Crypto Show. You come on the Liquid Lunch.
Little tequila.
We have a little tequila. My Texas friends got no problem with some tequila, that's for sure. So, where do you see crypto's been crazy, right? You know what I mean? The Chicago Mercantile Exchange last year came out with these futures contracts, and my background, my career is in short selling. Stocks, and so I kind of always take the contrarian point of view.
Yeah.
And when I saw these futures coming out, I said, all my friends who are short sellers, they know this thing's a little overinflated. They're going to use these futures to crush this thing.
Sure.
And as soon as those futures started trading, that's when Bitcoin started to take a serious beating. And they would let off it a little bit, it would come back up, but they knew they always could put the pedal to the metal. And now it seems to me like one of the mitigating factors is that those futures don't trade anymore, and there's nobody leaning on the crypto. And there's, loose money policies all across Europe now. People are looking at cryptocurrencies more. And one thing our audience should realize that fiat money is the way the government controls you.
Yes,
that's the way they control us.
Yeah.
If you go to the bank, you could have $1 million in the bank, or you could have his big bank account with hundreds of millions in there. But you can go to the bank and have $1 million in there. And if you want to take out more than $9,000, you got to start filling out all these forms and telling the government. And then you know what happens? Big Brother starts tracking your Easy Pass, your Sun Pass, your debit card. Why does he want $9,000? There's really a war on cash. The government doesn't even want us to have cash. And I think that's why they're so scared of digital currency, because it's out of their control. It's decentralized.
You bet. No, that's exactly right. And a couple of other points that you're hitting on in this. Folks, get in the crypto space. We've been telling people this for a long time. Take money that you'd throw away, a roll of dice in Vegas. Let me tell you what I started doing for my grandson. I was buying gold and silver, and for my grandson. And I started buying him cryptocurrencies in one of our sponsors where you can go online and buy it, $100 a month worth of cryptocurrencies. Let me tell you something. Like you said, do it for 5 years.
We're going to take a quick break. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. Back right after this.